Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council Business Meeting. My name is Mike Wickers. I am the mayor of our beautiful city of Cottonwood Heights. I have asked our District 1 Council Member, Matt Holton, if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to get started.
Please stand up. Repeat after me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic of one nation, under God.
Thank you, Councilmember Holton. So item 3 on our agenda tonight is we have two acknowledgements. You might notice some individuals that are here with us today, and we are unbelievably excited to have the opportunity to honor 2 different departments within our city. And that would be Unified Fire Authority and our police department, who responded to a devastating accident. I am going to read a proclamation that the city has done in honor of everyone who responded that evening on August 16th. It's entitled "A Proclamation Recognizing and Commending Emergency Response Personnel for Their Life-Saving Efforts on August 16, 2023. Whereas it is the intention of the City Council of the City of Cottonwood Heights to focus attention on and to commend noteworthy accomplishments occurring in the city. And whereas on the evening of August 16, 2023, a 25-year-old nurse was driving to her home in Cottonwood Heights after finishing her shift at the University of Utah Hospital. And whereas as she exited I-215 at Highland Drive, a fentanyl-impaired, unlicensed driver fell asleep while driving a Dodge construction truck, with his truck then veering off the road, becoming airborne and landing on top of the nurse's small Toyota, trapping her inside. And whereas, despite being conscious, the severely injured nurse was stuck in a cramped 18-inch high space in her flattened vehicle beneath the large truck and could not be extricated by conventional means. And whereas multiple emergency responders, including personnel of Unified Fire Authority, Murray Fire Department, Utah Highway Patrol, and Cottonwood Heights Police Department worked together for 2 hours to secure the scene and extricate the nurse, eventually needing a heavy tow apparatus equipped with a crane to successfully lift the truck high enough to rescue the nurse. And whereas the nurse was then transported to Intermountain Medical Center, where it was reported that she had suffered fractures in almost every limb and her torso. And whereas remarkably, the nurse is expected to survive, although she will likely experience long-term consequences of her injuries. And whereas the coordinated, valiant effort of these first responders ensured the nurse's survival, and the subsequent support provided to the victim's family and the exceptional work done to prepare the case for prosecution of the impaired driver have been extraordinary. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Cottonwood Heights City Council and manager that the city hereby recognizes and commends all those who participated so valiantly in responding to the scene of this accident and providing Herculean efforts to save the victim's life, and subsequently aided the victim's family and prepared enforcement proceedings against the impaired driver for their outstanding performance and stellar example of skill, empathy, dedication, and focus. If you'll rise and give them a round of applause. Thank you. I'm going to invite up our Assistant Fire Chief, Riley Pilgrim.
Mayor and Council, thank you for that, and thank you for the recognition. I think this is just evidence and proof and shows the dedication that our public safety personnel, both police and fire, have for our communities. And this was definitely not your typical accident scene. It was a very complex and challenging event. And these gentlemen behind us and women with the police department are they're professionals in their craft and they train hard for these types of events. And it's nothing short of miraculous to see how that turned out, and the dedication and perseverance they all demonstrated that night to make that happen and have the outcome that did is nothing short of commendable. So we thank you for recognizing them as well, and we appreciate their efforts.
Thank you, Chief Pilgrim. And we have a medallion, right, for them all?
Yeah, correct. So Chief Burchett is in attendance tonight, and so we would like to call everyone forward who's involved with that call, and Chief Burchett does have one for both the fire personnel and law enforcement personnel who are on scene. So I'll turn it over to you for that. So let's have everyone who's involved just come up to the front. We'll get a couple pictures and then Chief Burchett can hand those out.
I told our council, this is the, even with a tragic circumstance, this is the fun part of our job, to get to honor those who spend their time serving our community and helping to keep us safe. Thank you once again to everyone who's come, both from the police department and the fire department. We're indebted to your service. Thank you. Okay, we have a second acknowledgement. I'm going to have our Community and Economic Development Director, Mike Johnson, come up, where we once a year we do a presentation of beautification awards, and I'll let Mike explain what that is and show you some pictures. And we think we have some of the residents here that we'll get to honor. So.
Thank you, Mayor. It's usually the fall of every year, late summer. We take some time to acknowledge the efforts that many of our residents put forward in their lawns. We call this our Landscape Beautification Awards program. And this is a program where district by district across the city, properties are nominated by passerbys or neighbors of other properties that see these properties in their neighborhoods, that go above and beyond to take care of their yard and implement sustainable landscaping or well-maintained, well-groomed landscaping, and really take pride and ownership of their property and exemplify, Cottonwood Heights and the quality of its neighborhoods. So what I'm going to do tonight is walk through the winners for 2023. Typically, this is 4 or 5 years into this program. We try not to have repeat winners. And there's no shortage of great properties nominated each year. So we're excited to share the winners for 2023. Each of these winners will receive a certificate and a small token of appreciation from the city. And then they've received a yard sign that they get to keep that just acknowledges them as a beautification award winner. So I'll just go district by district. If the property owner of the property is here, stand up and we'll distribute your certificate to you and take a quick photo. And then these properties, I think, will also be highlighted in an upcoming newsletter. So Council District 1, the winning property, maybe I'll start with 2 because Councilmember Holton walked away. In District 2, the winning property is 2198 East Laredo Way. So I can turn it over to Councilmember Bracken.
One of the conducts here. No, this is this has always been a great opportunity to see what people do, and people who put a lot more work into their front yards than you do. So you give us something to aspire to. But this was I think this is the first one I've had that's down along Little Cottonwood Creek Valley, but it's certainly well deserved.
And for those that aren't here, we'll get those delivered to the property owners. We're going to jump back to District 1 now, Councilmember Holton. The winning property in District 1 was 7450 South Park Ridge Circle. Are they here? They are here. Okay, I'll turn it over to you.
You should really not have done that. I gotta just tell you, the Garrettsons, you've got to see their yard. It is amazing. In their backyard, honestly, go take a look. They've got one of the most beautiful gardens. It's overlooking Crestwood Park. They've got this rhubarb that if any of you want any rhubarb, I'm sure that they will share, but it is the most delicious. If you don't have rhubarb crumble, they have the recipe. But truly, I have never seen, and I went to every single one of the homes that was submitted, and I've never seen a home. I mean, if you look at the front yard, maybe John can tell us, but you've got this wood that I know he's hauled in. There's a tree that he's hauled in, I think, from maybe Bryce Canyon. We're not going to tell anyone if that's actually true or not, because I'm not sure if that's legal. But it is one of the most incredible, spectacular yards. And I just want to say thanks for making Cottonwood Heights a beautiful place, Garrettsons. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, in Council District 3, we have 6811 Virginia Hills Drive. Are they here tonight? Looks like maybe not, but I'll turn it over to you, Councilmember Hill.
I'm not a creeper or anything, but I like Matt drove around to each of the people that submitted their yards, and it was just amazing to me, not just the yards that were part of this contest, but a number of the yards that weren't even submitted. It was just phenomenal to see what the residents have done and to see the creativity that they showed. You know, one of the reasons I picked this home when I was looking at it is they also have a garden that's off to the north. And I thought, wow, that's pretty creative. You're on a cul-de-sac and you kind of have the yard that wraps around. There wasn't a lot of space there, but they did the best they could with that space with some planting boxes and so forth. It was really something to look at. But this is the second time I've been able to do this contest, and it's really, really exciting to get out to the neighborhoods. It was kind of like, I call it my drive about, just like a walkabout. I love driving through the different streets that I wouldn't otherwise be able to visit or take the time to visit as a council person. So this was really exciting, and I just appreciate this entrant and enjoyed being able to see their property.
Okay, in District 4, we have 9072 Green Hills Drive. Are they here with us tonight? They are. All right.
Well, the Williams son, Tucker, was out in his front yard using the space that you see here. Now, that may look like real lawn, but that is turf. Now, what I've learned in recent years about xeriscaping, is that we really shouldn't be planting sod except where, for instance, someone like Tucker is playing on it. Now, the Williams went above and beyond in their efforts to xeriscape and do water-wise landscaping by putting in turf. Now, truth be told, and we've got a smile going here, your husband, Jim Williams, told me that they actually tried to plant some sod and it twice died on them. So nonetheless, how much this was driven by truly reducing water consumption, I don't know. But I found, as Councilman Newell was saying, the amount of creativity, you can't see the entire house on this picture, but what they did throughout the front area of their property was beautiful, functional. It was a great mix of stone and unique rocks. And as it fills in, because this is quite a new project, these grasses will just bloom and continue to soften and enhance how interesting this all is. So I'm really delighted to award this to the Williams family.
Okay, and then the final winner is nominated and then chosen by the mayor. We have the mayor choose a commercial property, and properties are nominated through across the city. We have a lot of great landscape commercial properties in the city, and a lot that have won in the past. And again, trying to keep it fresh and new. So perhaps my most patronized business in the city is Swig down in the parking lot of Dan's. And they did this great kind of rock xeriscaping landscape treatment that works really well in a commercial parking lot. Is Swig here with us tonight? They are.
So let me tell you a little bit about why I chose Swig. It's because of their Diet Dr. Pepper with lime. No, I'm just teasing. That might have played a small part. What I loved about what they've done is, so we have a lot of businesses in our city that exist in what we kind of call an asphalt jungle. It's where people come to park. And Swig came and built their store here. And even though they're encompassed within a lot of asphalt, they created, I thought, some awesome landscaping with trees and rocks and xeriscaping, things that will beautify their location and not make it look just like a parking lot. So I love the entire thought process to not, the easy way out would have been to just leave more asphalt and concrete as the look, but they didn't take the easy way out, and they made our city more beautiful. So I couldn't be more excited to honor Swig. So thank you guys.
Thanks again to all the neighbors that have nominated their fellow neighbors for awards this year, for the award winners and making the city a more beautiful place. We'll get the certificates delivered out to those that weren't here tonight, and we look forward to doing this again next year.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mike. So I failed to recognize during our presentation to UFA and to our police department, we have our Salt Lake County Council Representative Ann Granado here with us. And thank you, Ann, for coming. I appreciate you coming. And I don't know if you wanted to say something. I'd love for you to come up. Yep.
I just want to say thanks for your recognition of xeriscaping. I tore up all my grass last year and 4.5 tons of rock are being delivered to my front yard in 2 weeks.
Wow. That's wonderful. Thank you, Ann. I appreciate it. Okay, item 4 on our agenda is our citizen comment period. This is a time for citizens to address the council concerning whatever they desire. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. When the 3 minutes is over, you have about 5 or 6 seconds to finish up your statement before I have to actually cut you off. So that's your notice to try and to wrap up. Please review the public comment procedures on the last page of the agenda. If you haven't already filled out a speaker comment card, please do so and hand it to a staff member who will get it to me. When making comments, we request that you speak into the microphone so that your comments can be recorded. And please give your name and avoid insulting language or comments. The audience should also avoid expressions of support so everyone will feel comfortable to comment. The council is here to listen, but you shouldn't expect to engage in a back and forth. If you do have questions, the staff will respond to you within a few business days. The first comment I have tonight is from Audrey Pines. Hi, Audrey.
What an honor to be here with a bunch of heroes and artistic people. And I hope you guys don't mind if I don't join in with the anti-lawn. I have a lot of creatures that live in my lawn, so I keep it, but we have the watering down, so it's very, whatever, sustainable, self-sustainable. So I didn't know we were going to talk about Hillside Plaza, so I just wanted to stay and say a couple public comments. I've sat in on a lot of the meetings of what people want, and I just want to make sure that Tim Teeny, Mike Johnson, our economic developers are in on the planning project so we can pay for this wonderful project that we have going. And I don't know if it's possible. I want to make sure that we reach out to, I appreciate that you guys have chosen 2 people, but everybody wants to be involved with it. So we need to somehow focus on the reach out program, maybe just Zooms, webinars, and also that fabulous creative team that you guys have. I was here when they came in. I would love to be able to sit in on a Zoominar with them to see their thought process and where they're coming from. Like, what don't they love about the holiday center other than all the stores carry the same merchandise? Anyway, so I think that's about all. I just, the thing about the economic developers is me sitting in on the meetings, they understand like where we could put pickleball courts, how much of our taxes is going to the kids with the schools. Can we do after school programs instead of just, donating the whole thing to a full on 24/7 kids after school program? And also that we don't put the existing businesses out of business here in Cottonwood Heights, like 5 coffee shops. There's an adorable little dance studio in that area. There's an Italian restaurant. So I think it's important that we include Tim and Mike, right? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Audrey. Okay, the next comment I have is from Lynn Kraus. Hopefully you can tell me if I said that right, Lynn. Second try, Kraus. Sorry about that.
I haven't been here in a really long time. But it was nice to be here on an evening where you were recognizing lawns and our public servants. My first comment is to commend the city on the sidewalk. You want this down? Okay. I wanted to commend the city on the sidewalk that was installed on 2375 East on the east side of the road. Makes a huge difference in that area, makes it much safer for walking, and I really appreciate it. The second thing I wanted to comment on, and I swear I did not talk to Councilmember Bracken when he was giving a history lesson, nor Councilmember Burrell, but I am going to give a bit of a history to come to my point about how the city appoints citizens to the various advisory councils, committees, and commissions in our city. To that end, the history lesson. When Abraham Lincoln ran for office, and I'm not sure if you mentioned it or if you mentioned it, it was a 4-way, very contentious battle. Nobody thought he could win his party's nomination. Guess what? He won, as we all know. He put his differences aside and he called on his 3 contenders to serve on his cabinet as Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of State, and Attorney General. Hence the name of the book, called A Team of Rivals. His explanation at the time, and I'm going to read it, was that these were the strongest men in the country. He declared that the country needed to have the strongest men and that he couldn't deprive it of those talents. Cottonwood Heights is full of strong, smart, and diverse individuals with a wealth of expertise and knowledge in a bunch of different areas. Yet it seems to me that council and staff continue to draw from the same well of people when appointing to these various positions. Instead of reaching out to residents that maybe have differing views and who aren't part of your inner circle or aren't part of the inner circle of past council members. I feel like this is a disservice to our city, and it alienates residents whose perspectives might differ from your own. I think that's evidenced by the number of people who no longer come and speak at city council meetings. They feel like their voices are never heard, their perspectives don't matter, or that they think it's just a waste of time. And I've heard this over and over again from different people. So diverse views, in my opinion, would result in better outcomes for our city and would help make residents feel more included, which I think is really important right now. Again, to quote the book, good leadership requires you to surround yourself with people of diverse perspectives who can disagree with you without fear of retaliation. That quote, in my opinion, is something our city leaders really need to aspire to and work harder to achieve. Thank you so much for your service to our city, and thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. The next person we have is Nancy Hardy. Hi, Nancy.
I'm just wanted to touch base on the appointment of the members today because that wasn't public knowledge, but I did listen to the CDRA meetings in the past and there were some really good ideas. Well, actually, first I need to back up. I want to say kudos to Randy Whitehead because we wouldn't all be here if it wasn't for him. He has spearheaded this and drawn residents. That first meeting was overflowing out of that room. He's drawn residents like nobody else has in a positive way. So anyway, I did listen to a couple of the CDRA meetings and some of the things were talked about, and Ellen had mentioned to get people, residents with expertise or special interests in different groups, the Arts Council, Parks and Rec, Historic Commit Society, business, people that have mobility expertise, senior citizen, young people, just to represent the city. So in this group of people that were appointed, I don't know most of those, but I'm hoping the city does have a very diverse group of people that represents the citizens that all wanted to be part of this. And when this group is posted or announced on the website, will the city be able to also post their qualifications or so that people can know the diversity and how they were chosen, just for our own interests, since we don't know all of them? Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. I don't see any other comment cards here or people online. So with that, I'll close the citizen comment period. The council has 4 legislative action items to consider this evening. What was that? Can you fill out a comment card? Okay, come on up and tell us your name real quick.
Thank you. Anyway. My name is Randy Long, L-O-N-G. I live at A610 Kings Hill Drive here in Cottonwood Heights. And I'd like to speak on Wasatch Boulevard and also on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. I'm completely against widening Wasatch Boulevard or doing anything with it. I think it needs to stay just like it is. I've been there 50 years. The reason we, along with most of the other residents, moved out of that area is to get away from the city, not have the city follow us. And widening Wasatch Boulevard, one thing we encouraging the city to follow us. And again, I'm completely against that, therefore. That's a big enough reason right there. On the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, I'm in favor of that. I'm an avid hiker and camper myself, and I've worked on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail a number of times. And in fact, I'm going to help get it as far as it is from Big Cottonwood to Ferguson Canyon. And I know now it's pretty much done there, and it's to go on to Deaf Smith pretty soon. And Deaf Smith, of course, almost right above my house. And again, I'm in favor of that. I think we need that trail. We need the urban interface preserved. We need it down lower. Forest Service wants up higher in some places. And I disagree with them there even. We need it down lower. And again, to preserve the urban interface. Forest Service boundary needs to be preserved just like the rest of the Forest Service land does. And so again, we need that trail, need it finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate your comments. So now I'll close the citizen comment period and we'll move on to our legislative.
Mayor,
action.
may I make one comment on?
Yes.
I'll just reiterate what I did say during the CDRA meeting, that the advisory committee job is to distill a lot of information down to something that is presentable. I'm hoping a couple of different options for what is available at Hillside, at which point all members of the public from whatever walks of life, whatever background or demographics can come in and offer their input. In fact, I can't remember who I talked to earlier. I says, if you come up with one option, you're going to be disappointed because it will get torn apart. But their idea is to get all of that and bring it down into something that's easier for us to do as an open house, so that we can get input from the public at large for anybody who would like to participate.
Thank you, Councilmember Brecken.
Mayor,
Okay.
may I make a comment?
Yes.
Since Mr. Lang came to the microphone with his plea that Wasatch Boulevard not be widened, Mr. Lang, I might direct you to the 2019 Wasatch Boulevard Master Plan that was approved by the Cottonwood Heights City Council. And you will see in that plan that it allows and it endorses the idea of an extreme widening of Wasatch Boulevard. So I appreciate your comment. And I urge all citizens of Cottonwood Heights to go and read the master plans that exist for our city and to continue to participate in the legislative process so that your views and needs are known and met, because I concur with you. I was vehemently against the tenants in the Golden Hills Bengal corridor for SR 210, and yet that is what stands on our books right now, that we are fine with a 5 and 7 lane width to Wasatch Boulevard.
Okay, item 5.1 this evening is a consideration of ordinance 403, amending code chapter 19.72, the sensitive lands evaluation and development standards. We've had the opportunity to discuss this item for about 2 years, right, Mike? Close? Plus or minus 2 years. We discussed it earlier in our work session this evening. We've had amazing citizen input on this matter, and we're grateful to have this ordinance update to where we are currently. Any questions or comments from the council on this ordinance?
No, I would note, I very distinctly remember with previous mayor and council that this was a subject of discussion. There was a lot of work that was going on even 4 or 5 years ago, covering earthquakes, land types, riparian areas, a variety of subjects. And when we first did sleds 10 or 15 years ago, it was a vast improvement over what we had before. And I appreciate all the time and effort into making this better than and updating it to the current standards. I think it will. What was the
Herculean.
that one? I can't. It's not coming out right.
Well, I want to echo what Scott Bracken is saying. Herculean, I think.
We'll pronounce
right
it
word.
right for him, but that's an amazing job.
And I just want to emphasize that it really did transform from something that a lot of residents didn't like, to a lot of, to recommendations and various things that a lot of residents obviously are more palatable. And so I just want to thank the staff, especially because you took the brunt of a lot of the complaints of making sure that the residents' voices mattered. And I think that we have come a long, long way, even since I've been on the council, to a point that I believe this is really beneficial for Cottonwood Heights. And so thanks for all that work. And thanks to those residents who stepped up and did the homework and read this thing through and through and shared that input. Even this last council session, I think there were some concerns that were brought up and we paused it for a little bit to try to improve it. So thank you, everybody.
I would also like to voice an appreciation for constituents who have worked tirelessly with the staff, and to also acknowledge Mike Johnson and his staff for the years of work involved in this. And this will not only safeguard environmental ways, but also be a help for us to have a financially stable and sustainable future when it comes to our sensitive lands area. And I thank the Planning Commission. Our chairman is here tonight of the Planning Commission. They have been diligent. So this is many individuals and organizations and staff. And I'm so thrilled that we'll be passing that tonight. I also want to pledge to my constituents that I'll be having a meeting, giving them the opportunity to come and really understand what this resolution means and answer questions, so that again, we can have members of our community who really deeply understand the purpose and how it'll be procedurally followed up.
Thank you for those comments. I would echo all of them. I've created some lifelong friends through this process of amending this ordinance. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 403, amending code chapter 19.72, sensitive lands evaluation and development standards.
Ordinance 403.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Bracken and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll move to the vote. Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Item 5.2 is consideration of ordinance 404, adopting an amended budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024. I'm going to have our Administrative and Fiscal Services Director, Scott Churches, come up and give us a quick background on what we'll be voting on here.
Okay, so this was reviewed in our last city council meeting as well as in the work meeting earlier today. The items in green are items that were brought forward from last year that we weren't able to expend during the last fiscal year. So we're bringing them forward. Excuse me, the first item here in the general fund is police radios, brought forward at 50,000. There's been a problem with availability of the new radios that are required for the police. And so that was not able to be expended last year and was actually expended about 2 weeks ago, finally, during our current budget. And then in addition, we need another 175,000 to complete the purchase of the radios that we need to have in place near the end of our fiscal year, when they're going to do the actual transition over to the new frequencies for the police and fire radios during that time. Item number 3 is police marathon overtime expenses and then the reimbursement of revenue to cover that. Item number 4 is DUI overtime shift reimbursement to the tune of $10,858. Item number 5 is recognizing the sale of a Harley Davidson motorcycle and then utilizing those funds to go towards police vehicles that will be needed. Item number 6, this was discussed earlier. The annual salary and benefits is $120,000. However, it was recommended in our work meeting earlier to reduce that to be from October 1st to June 30th of the year. So that will save $30,000 per FTE or bring that down to 90,000 per FTE in the year. And 3 times $30,000 savings would be the $90,000 reduction here, bringing that to $328,000 total. The reason for the extra is 40,000 for an additional police vehicle, plus 18,000 for the additional police radios. There's a handheld and a car radio for each of the officers that we're adding. And this will be again for the traffic patrol and mitigation, specifically for the canyons in the winter and through other areas of the city through other times of the year. Item number 7 is the South Valley Chamber membership at $20,000. Item number 8 is Public Works, and these will also be utilized by police in various needs. VMS board trailers, which is the messages that you can put up there, 2 or 3 lines of messages to drivers as they're driving around through the city. So a total of addition of $637,000 of expense and $27,000 worth of revenue. So $610,000 of impact, and that could be mitigated based on turnover savings in the police department and on other revenues that could potentially be identified coming in. On page 2, the items are mainly rebudgeting our capital projects from the prior year, mainly roads and trail items in this item number 1. $4,605,000 of expense, $1,209,000 of revenue. And then the rebudget of the unfinished public works building, just a little over 7 million remains on that. This is the new item. This is Fort Union, Wasatch Boulevard curb and median. This is on the westbound lanes right in front of the 7-Eleven that's up there to ensure that people in the right lane have to turn right and don't skate through the intersection going straight during the wintertime period. And then on the stormwater fund, it's a rebudget of the unfinished stormwater projects of $1,528,000. And so those are the items that we've discussed earlier, and I don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Any questions,
I just,
comments from the council?
yeah, I'd like to just point out, just so that everyone's aware, the number 2, the $175,000 was a mandate that we had to follow through from the state. And so that we didn't really have a choice on. And also the police officers, I just want to say thanks to the police department. I know that these individuals were positions that were taken away at some point along the city's history, and they're going to be put back into the police department. Just a thanks to the police department for at times being stretched a little thin and making it all work, and for working super hard and overtime. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you for that comment. I'll even add to the point, the police radios are, the state mandated that they be updated, and actually we're willing to offset part of the cost for cities with a certain population. Our population was too big, and so they weren't willing to help us. So I guess we'll pay for them and be okay with it, right? Anyway. Okay.
If it's okay, I would note again also, this is 3 traffic officers. We've had the traffic officers in the past. If you've looked at our data over years and years, we used to issue a lot more citations and warnings. I like the warnings. People do that, but this will help not only with ski days, but on all those other times where there's things that are going on in the neighborhoods, and you'd like someone to look into it. I also know from years of experience and having these things, be careful sometimes what you ask for, because usually when you ask for police patrols in your neighborhood, it's the neighbors that get the tickets. But if it slows everybody down, that's the price you pay. But it'll be good. COVID and the anticipated recession, loss of funds, and some other political issues over the last 5 to 7 years really did a number, and I'm glad that we can get back to strength.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance 404, adopting an amended budget for fiscal year 2023-2024.
I move that we approve the amended budget.
Second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Newell. Any final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Okay, next we have item 5.3, consideration of resolution 2023-49, accepting requests for indemnification. We had the opportunity to discuss this earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-49, accepting requests for indemnification.
Move that we approve resolution 2023-49.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Bracken and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Our last action item is 5.4, consideration of resolution 2023-50, declaring certain property surplus. We also discussed this item in our work session earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-50.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 2023.
Second.
The motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final question, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay, our last item on our agenda this evening is approval of the consent calendar, which are the minutes from our city council work session, board canvassers meeting, and city council business meeting from September 19th. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.